And ginger, you'll see that it's in the flu bomb. It's a heating herb. If someone has been out shoveling snow and they come in and they're extremely cold, give them a cup of hot ginger tea, and you will see that they will warm up quite quickly. So you can use ginger internally and you can use it externally. So first of all, we'll look at it internally. Internally, you can grate it on this little fine grater, probably about a teaspoon, and you pour a cup of boiling water on it. Let it just sit for about 10 minutes and strain it, and there's your ginger tea. So that hot ginger tea can be used to warm someone up. It can be used for someone's got a cold, sore throat. It also can be used for anyone that's got an upset stomach. So it's an anti-nausea herb. So it's not only a heaty herb, but it's an anti-nausea herb. If you buy seasickness or car sickness tablets, you'll find they're just compressed ginger. So anyone who's got a bit of nausea, so maybe if someone's pregnant, they can suck on those car sickness, or they can put a lump of ginger in their mouth and just give that a little suck over a while, or they can have the ginger tea. So you can use it externally as well. Now what I do with the cling wrap, I fold it up a few times so it's a little bit more usable. And on top of that I'll put this square because I'm about to make a ginger poultice. And ginger poultice is specifically used for joint pain. So this can be gout, arthritis, and I don't ever peel it. Obviously, if it's dirty, I'd wash it. And I'm going to finely grate it, and it can be used for any joint pain. It's very effective at lower back pain, especially if there's inflammation. If there's inflammation in the joint, if there's inflammation in the back, and you apply the ginger poultice, within about 20 minutes, the skin gets very hot. It appears that the ginger is pulling the inflammation out of the joint to the skin. Because I have applied this to people with sore backs, not often, mostly it gets very hot, and they say to me, it's not getting hot at all. That tells me the pain isn't due to inflammation, because if it was inflammation, it would get hot. Can you see that? That's about, I've put probably maybe a really heaped teaspoon of ginger on there. And now I'm going to make the poultice, where you fold over the top and the bottom and then the two sides. So now I have like a little parcel. And the beauty of this little parcel is that if it is a little bit wet, you've got a few layers to soak it up. And the area that's got one layer, that's the bit you'll put on the skin. And with the plastic, you want it about 1/2 inch all around. So let's say I'm going to put it on my wrist. Then I'll put it on like that. And I'll just check that the plastic is covering it. And notice that not much of the plastic is touching you. Now the reason for the plastic is to prevent that poultice from chilling, which it would if the air got onto it, but it also is to protect your clothing. And then I would just bandage it. I'm getting very good at bandaging myself because I've had this sore, this wrist that was broken. So, and I always put it up between the thumb as well. And I just love this bandage because it's just got a bit of Velcro, so it'll just stay on like that. So what I always do is check that the plastic is over the cloth, because you do not want bits of ginger all through your bed. And that can stay on. Now it could stay on overnight, but if we're going to put a ginger poultice on, we will put this on about 6 o'clock. And then if by 7:38 it's getting really, really hot, we say to the person, is it feeling okay? And some people say, no, 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 it's burning me, I can't stand it. We'll just take it off because it's already had some effect. But often when a person has arthritis, they'll say, oh no, that feels really nice. So then we say, okay, we'll leave it on overnight. And you can certainly leave it on overnight. But when someone has joint pain, especially due to inflammation, that can bring incredible relief. So we had one lady and she said, I've got this finger that will not bend. And it was swollen. She said, 18 months I've had this problem. So we made a tiny little poultice and just put it around that joint. And then we put a little bit of plastic and then we just taped it. And we did it about 6 o'clock. So about 8:30 when she's heading up to bed, I said, how's it feeling? She said, it is hot, but it feels very nice. I said, okay, well, we'll leave it all night. In the morning when she came down, she took it off and she could bend her finger. She said, I haven't been able to bend that finger for 18 months. Just a tiny little ginger poultice. But what we find is, and one lady told me her knee was very inflamed. She put the ginger poultice on and after a few hours she couldn't believe that she could start to bend her knee. She was so excited. She said it got very hot. If it gets hot, that's an indication it's pulling inflammation out. So then she put another one on in the afternoon. Then she had a shower and put another one overnight, and when she woke up in the morning, the tissue in her knee was red, swollen with little blisters. She emailed me, she said, what have I done? And I said, you've overdone it. You've just overdone it. She's just pulled too much inflammation out, which has irritated the skin. She said, what'll I do now? I said, well, you can't do a ginger poultice for probably another week. You have to let that settle down. And so I usually say to people, just do it for maybe a couple of hours in the afternoon or in the morning. And if you're visiting someone and they've got a sore knee, you could even make the poultice up and fold it up like this, and then in the evening maybe they put it on. Obviously you wouldn't make it too long before because it is vegetable matter that can go off. You could make it up and put it in the freezer. If you're visiting someone who was a bit disabled and couldn't make it, you could make them a whole heap and freeze them. So, and you could make it the way I have just made it. So that's the ginger poultice. There are some places you would never put a ginger poultice. You would never put it on tender areas. You would never put it on the eye. But I think that's a little bit of common sense, isn't it? So remember this, gingers for joint. So joint pain, joints in the fingers, the wrists, the knees, the hips. One lady put it on her hip, and that's not easy to secure it there, but what you can do is you can get some nice stretchy booty underwear, which are quite stretchy, and something like that can hold it into place. And remember your body's response. So the next one I'm going to make is the one that the lady can apply to her knee now that the tissue's all swollen, and that is potato.